Thanks for watching this interview on Sunburnt Country Music. My name is Sophie and I do all the interviews here. This one will be with Jason Resch, formerly of Darlinghurst, now a solo artist. And Jason has a fascinating career, so I'm really looking forward to talking to him about it. And you will see that conversation right after this. Jason Resch is a Melbourne-based songwriter, musician, and producer whose career spans UK pop, Nashville songwriting rooms, and Australian country music charts. With a track record that includes chart-topping singles and award-winning collaborations, he has now released his first single as a solo artist, Talk of the Town, and I have many questions to ask him about all of those things. Hello, Jason.
Hi, Sophie, how you doing?
I'm very well, thank you, and really pleased to have the chance to talk to you because you do have this incredible pedigree. And I actually would like to start at the beginning of your career. We will get to Talk of the Town, but I don't think we can get to Talk of the Town without talking about your trajectory as a pop writer in particular. So it's a fascinating career, and I'd like to know how you ultimately arrived at this new single through that career. So at 18, you moved to the UK to join Xenomania, a music production team, and clearly by then you were already accomplished because you don't just take off at 18 and say, hello, I'm a songwriter now. So what was your musical life like leading up to that?
I guess, yeah, I guess I found a love for music at a pretty young age, and I think a lot of it had to do with like my parents kind of sort of saw me. I was had like I think there was like a toy piano around, and I used to just for some reason just be just drawn to that thing. I would bash away and sing songs. So they eventually bought me a piano and bashed away on that, and then learned a few chords as I got older, and then the thing that sort of made me want to be a musician was I saw Elvis, the Elvis Aloha from Hawaii concert
All
on
right.
on VHS, and that completely just solidified what I guess what I wanted to do with my life, or just at the time I just wanted to just make music, and then that's kind of how it started, and then just as leading up to I guess 18 and all that, it was just it was just practicing a lot, and starting to write my own songs and get in front of audience, and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
trying to do new things. So
So were you in bands as a teenager or were you playing solo?
yes, I was in a band from it was around 13 till about 17, I think, and that's kind of where we got noticed by uh, the producers out in England.
Right.
So we were sort of going back and forth, and then eventually I was just going over there as a songwriter, and then once I finished school, I sort of made more of a permanent move out to England, and stayed there for 4 years, and did I was a session musician and an in-house songwriter. So that was my journey up until then.
Well, it's pretty remarkable, I think, to be in the same band from 13 to 17 because they're years when you change a lot as a human being. Your voice changes for one thing, but also what you're interested in changes. And I would think a lot of teenagers probably, well, it's pretty much a job you had from 13 to 17. A lot of teenagers just want to hang out and do other things. But also the fact you were just talking then about going back and forth to England and people were paying attention to you. So what sort of venues were you playing in, or were you like how were you releasing music that you were getting that sort of attention?
Well, we played a lot around, like a lot of just a lot of the the sort of the well-known clubs around Melbourne, and then sort of in Victoria. We did a gig in Sydney once, and I'll never forget the day when I came home from school and we got the call from the manager of the band, and it was like, oh, there's a chance to go support Magic Dude. It was either Magic Dude or Thirsty Meg. It was one of the two, and they said in Bendigo, and we're in Melbourne, so like, oh, so Dad comes home, he's had a massive day, and I go, hey, Dad, you mind driving me up to to Bendigo tonight? And so it was a lot of that sort of stuff, and but I was fortunate to have very very supportive parents in that sense. So yeah.
So after so piano was obviously the first instrument, and you must have added guitar. Were there any other instruments you picked up in that time?
Um, nah, just more piano and guitar. I tried picking up a few other things, but I put them down. I think because there was just it was guitar and piano was enough to kind of try and wrap my head around, I guess. So.
I've got to say, having learnt both, because I learnt piano from childhood and picked up guitar later in life. Guitar I find is harder actually than piano.
It's a little bit easier to take around town, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it can be. I think piano, you've got you're able to sort of have a bit more scenarios and things going on, but it's they both got their things, and they're both still to this day very inspiring instruments to play and to write songs on. Yeah.
Do you have a preference out of the two, or is it really when the song comes to you, it's whatever instrument you feel will be more suited to that song?
I guess they both have yeah, they both have their things that make it kind of equally inspiring. I guess I'm kind of my go-to is guitar these days. But that's probably where I kind of start. But I like playing on piano, or it kind of just gets you out of your own usual routine in your mind and makes you sort of think a little bit differently, and yeah, just create different sounds, of course. And so yeah, they're both great to me. Yeah.
So when you moved to the UK at 18, I mean, obviously you said you had very supportive parents, but then of course they had to say goodbye to you because 18 is young to send your son off to the other side of the world to work as a songwriter. So obviously the band was done at that stage and you were going to be focused just on songwriting. So did you have a sense of what it might be like to actually be a working songwriter before you arrived, or did it come as a bit of a surprise?
I guess when you like anything, you have your you I forget the word for this, but like you kind of have an idea of what you think it might be like, but you go over there and it's completely just, yeah, you learn very quick and on the fly, and you're around people that have done it for so long, they've been successful, and have also, they've done it for years. So you sort of, whatever you sort of thought it was going to be like, you kind of you sort of start rewiring and training your brain to think a certain, different way, and approach it a different way, or refined way, I guess.
Yeah. Were you doing any performing while you were there, or was it just songwriting?
I did a few, not as a solo artist or anything like that. I played guitar, like for some of the artists that we had come through so I was just a guitarist in the band, and yeah, but nothing like, no, not out front or anything, not that many anyway. So
Yeah. Did you miss it? Because obviously having done it for 4 years or so, it was a big part of your life.
yeah, to be honest, when I started doing the songwriting thing, that's sort of, that felt a lot more natural to me to just kind of be more in a studio scenario. But that being said, like recently, like with the Darlinghurst stuff, playing again live in front of new audience, it's kind of re-sparked that again. But when I at that moment in my life, it was yeah, a little bit more of a natural thing to just sort of do this, just be in a studio, that felt kind of just very natural to me.
So you were writing songs for a variety of pop artists mainly, including a certain Kylie Minogue, and you also worked on an album with Pet Shop Boys, and you were producing, I think, on that album, from what I understand. So obviously, at a certain point while you were there, you moved into producing. Was that, do you think, just a natural evolution of your interests, or did the opportunity come to you and you thought, I'm just going to give it a try?
Oh, the producing thing came later in my life. So I wasn't producing when I was in England at the
Okay.
time, but I was doing songwriting and yeah, the session work on albums and singles, and yeah, Pet Shop Boys album, that was a just a wonderful experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't really know about, like, I've heard of the name, but I was like, oh, I wonder what their sort of sound is. And I heard the songs, and like that we were going to work on. I got really excited because it was kind of different to what I was so used to doing, AC/DC and Guns N' Roses and stuff in the band. So then doing this kind of electronic pop music, and yeah, and they're awesome guys to be around too. So it was great.
Yeah. I mean, clearly you developed a real talent for pop, because the songs that you were writing on that end up in the charts were mainly for pop artists. So when you were younger, I mean, you said, the band you're in was more the AC/DC Guns N' Roses band, but had you been listening to pop as a kid, for example, and you developed an ear for
I religiously watched video hits from 97 to 99 every Saturday and Sunday.
it?
And but even growing up, I like Elvis and like there's always greatest hits stuff around the house. So I
Mhm.
was kind of like always had listening to that sort of stuff, so I don't know. I just kind of I don't really know how to answer it, but I just sort of paid attention, tried to
Mhm.
whatever reason just pick up on what I was hearing and try and just get curious about it, I guess. Yeah, I guess it definitely somehow worked its way into what I do, I guess, when it comes to songwriting.
Are you a songwriter who tends to record voice memos, for example? If a melody comes to you, you just got to get it down? Or given your experience, because you then moved on to Nashville for a couple of years, and clearly you are used to going into those rooms and writing at the allotted time. So do you tend to actually just wait until you have an opportunity to write and then see what comes to you?
No, I guess I've got my own sort of way of writing songs, and pretty much they always start on a voice memo, or and just yeah. I had to clear out my phone the other day because I had about 10,000 of them on there, so I had to because my phone was not in a good place. So yeah, so it just starts with a lot of just a lot of putting down ideas, and then you go through them and you pick out I pick out ones that I think are worth working on, and then just keep developing and developing and developing, and it just keeps going, but yeah, most times it comes from there. I try to it's sort of more of a disciplined way of writing instead of just waiting for things to
Mhm.
happen, even though it's nice when they do it does happen.
Yeah. I'm hoping you backed up all those voice memos to the cloud.
I think I've backed up the backup just in case.
Right. Okay. Yes. Well, therefore, yes. Take them off the hard drive of your phone. So, when you moved to Nashville after the UK, was it just because obviously Nashville is such a hub now for songwriters in particular, but also for production, that it just seemed like the natural next destination?
Yeah, it was a the last sort of the last 6 months I was in England, I was starting to kind of get like listen to country music a lot more. Like I started listening to things that I remembered listening to when I was a kid, and
Mhm.
so I was kind of all sort of listening to for the last 6 months, and then I yeah, it was just felt like a natural thing, and being a guitar player as well, it just felt kind of right to sort of do that, and I was just trying to follow my gut instinct to to, yeah, to go out on my own now, and just and go to a new place, and Nashville and LA were the kind of the two places I was thinking about, but I ended up in Nashville and stayed there. So it was a yeah wonderful few years. Yeah.
So it sounds like you probably pretty easily slipped into songwriting there, because from what I understand, there are quite a lot of working songwriters, and there are plenty of rooms.
Yeah, it's all like the play Nashville's just a yeah, it's you've got to go check it out if you're a songwriter, and just the musician, just the talent out there, and just the energy is well, yeah, it's like nothing else really.
Yeah.
It's it's good. I sort of I do miss it, but yeah, it's a yeah, it was good. It was a good thing to and it's good to sort of I guess also when the things that the way that I learned in England, about songwriting, then you kind of get put in a situation like how there's certain ways of writing in Nashville too, and trying to and it kind of just helps you kind of shape your own way of looking at things and how to approach things, and yeah, it's all good. No right
Yeah.
or wrong ways, I guess. So.
Yeah. Well, and also it's a lot of different experience that you had accumulated by that stage, and a lot of co-writing as well. Were you at a point where you actually just didn't write songs on your own? They were all co-writes?
Um, I kind of wrote, like, I sort of always wrote on my own anyways, but then co-writing opportunities come up, and yeah, I'd be doing that too. So it was never just one, and without I was always doing it just on my own, and also with other people. So yeah, kind of just had those two avenues. Even to this day, it's just the same thing. It's just kind of what I like to do every day.
Right.
Songwriting.
So you do it pretty much every day.
Yeah, some days it's quiet, but and some days it's very productive. But it's every day is like yeah, it's everything's kind of dedicated towards making music and things like that. So it's yeah, but you have your off days sometimes too, which is try and do something else.
I think it's par for the course and probably also necessary. I think the creative brain needs to lie fallow from time to time to get to the good stuff again.
Yeah, it's hard. I tried taking a holiday once, and yeah, I just can't. Like I relax, but even when I relax, and I'm always thinking about, you know, music and the next idea and what, what I could, what I yeah, I don't know how to explain it. It's a bit of a just yeah, I love doing it, but it's hard to switch off sometimes. Mm.
Yeah, I just love you saying I tried to take a holiday once. Once.
Oh, yeah, maybe one day, but yeah, it's no, I enjoy doing it. Yeah, just love making music.
Yeah, and I think that's the case when it is something you love and it's something that you're not resisting, as in like you just let that creative river keep flowing. It's not work per se. It's not like you're feeling like, oh, I've got to get this song out. And so that's why the concept of a holiday where you completely switch off is absolutely foreign because obviously your creative brain will keep making things regardless of where you are.
Yeah, yeah, it's I'm I don't know. I'm fortunate enough I don't have to. I guess like just taking a coffee break's a good enough break, and I kind of get like, all right, let's get back into it. But yeah, coffee holidays.
Yeah, coffee holiday. So as a
Yeah.
songwriter, I mean, it sounds like that for you, like you primarily identify as a songwriter, and I actually think pop songs, pop hooks are incredibly hard to write because they're the most entertaining things, but that's you have to have a certain discipline in order to not indulge in embellishments, all those sorts of things, and actually to have that gift of that melodic hook is rare. So I'm wondering for you as a songwriter, what motivates you the most?
Um, there's some aspects of the aspects of that. I think with songwriting, you try and get motivated to write. Writing hooky things is one thing, and then to do it with sincerity is the other thing as well. So you can write hooky things, and then sometimes I think of it like a sugar rush. There's a lot of you can write sugar rush songs where the first couple of times it sounds fantastic, and then you kind of get a headache and you need water, sort of thing. So you know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of
Yeah.
how. Whereas I like writing songs and try and write songs and get driven by trying to write things that are that you can still listen to after more than I don't know half a dozen times. So
Yeah.
but that's just sort of my take on music and that sort of stuff with like especially when it comes to like I guess pop music and stuff. It's it's to do. I think just to do anything like with sincerity is it's a little bit tricky sometimes and but it's worth the time and patience.
Yeah, that idea of the sugar rush song, I totally understand what you mean because there can be some songs where you do listen to it the first time and think, oh wow, that's so entertaining and great. And there is that sense of, oh, I just want to listen to that again. And then after three or four times, you think, I think the gloss has really worn off there.
Yeah, it's not like there's some songs where you listen to and yeah, you just never get sick of it, which is fantastic.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's just one. That's just sort of one analogy I use. Like I just sort of think to myself if I'm writing something like like if I feel like I'm not really if I'm going to get sick of this after a while, maybe it's not something to continue working on. I guess.
Yeah. And I do think the feeling of it, as like for you as a songwriter, to feel what's right is important. We can intellectualize all sorts of things and tell ourselves, "Oh, I think that's not the right thing to do." But the feeling of it is when it comes from that sincere place, as you were talking about, the audience can definitely hear that.
Yeah, it's hard though too because you kind of only got your feelings to judge and they're not. It's just your perspective. So and it's not right or wrong. It's just like whatever moves you and there's sometimes there's songs I've written that like I thought they were I thought that they were decent enough to work on and they end up doing really well and I'm just thinking and then there's a song I'm just like I think I've written one of my best songs and everyone it's like, oh, okay. So yeah, it's a there's something out that this you can only do so much, then the rest is kind of up to the universe or the gods to, that's out of your
Yeah.
that's out of your control. I think that's where you got to stop too and then maybe work on something else.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So after after this stint in Nashville, you returned to Australia and you co-founded Darlinghurst, which was a four-piece band, golden guitar winning band, chart placements, lots of acclaim. But it was also, I remember when Darlinghurst emerged, and that was around the start of the pandemic. So from my memory, I think it was 2020, and so it was probably a little nerve-wracking for you. You come back to Australia and then a new venture, and then the world of music is completely upended.
Yeah, it was a bit of a, yeah, just like a, just one of those scenarios where you're just like, yeah, okay, how are we going to deal with this and all that? But we were fortunate enough to have probably 90% of the album already done and recorded. But
Okay.
we spent the last, yeah, the last 10% was yeah, we, writing over Skype. And then when we had a moment to actually be able to get together, and we kind of just, yeah, made sure we got it done as because then we could just get back into lockdown again. So
Yeah.
so yeah, it was a weird thing about that, like, and sort of releasing the song during, yeah, the COVID time and lockdown. But it's just one of those things that was just happened to work out. It feel for, yeah, it's just the cards we were given. So that was
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah. So this was you back in a band. So you'd been a songwriter for quite a few years. Hadn't been in a band doing some performance though. So did you, when you came back to Australia, did you think I want to be back in that band environment, or did this opportunity just come along?
I think in the back of my mind, ever since, I guess, when I was in England, I saw if I was ever in a band situation and it just sort of naturally just fell into place, and it felt, and it felt like it's a thing to pursue and all that. It's yeah, that I would do it. So and so yeah, when that sort of scenario came together, and I kind of just sort of followed me gut on that, and just, and then yeah, just we end up doing what we did, and yeah, and we had a good yeah, we made a good body of work that I'm very, very proud of, and I'm sure we all are. So
Yeah, as you should be. With the songs, because you were the principal songwriter, from what I understand. So did you come to the project with a few songs underway, or were they all written originally for and with the band?
there was a couple of songs that I had written just after I left England, and so that was Sorry Won't Get You Back, and it's So Long, So Long. So that was sort of like we were trying to, yeah, I forget how Sorry Won't Get You Back came into the play. I think I was just thinking, oh, I've got this song that I think we're trying to look for another upbeat sort of song, and I just remembered that one in the, yeah, that I had, and we yeah, came together, and yeah, sort of, yeah, finished it together. But yeah, that pretty much the basis of that was that was already written, and yeah, same with the sort of the basis of So Long, So Long as well.
Hmm. Now, one of the songs you made with Darlinghurst, which was "Pretty Doesn't Make You Good," you went into the studio with the producers M Squared, which is Michael De Laurentiis and Michael Painter. And I am going somewhere with this because they're about to pop up again in your story. But I'm wondering why you decided to work with them for that particular song.
I think it's just where the time that we were at with where we were wanting to go, and I guess like their sort of sound, they just have a just they bring something to the table in regards to the records and stuff that they make, and for the artists that they work with. And when I when we did go there and we worked with them, and yeah, I was just sort of just everything that I thought that they would be in the studio, and their their attention to the songwriting process, and then the record making and the mixing and all that. Um, yeah, I can't say enough wonderful things about M Squared, about and what they do. And I think, and it's not just country music. Like the things that they've done for Australian country is phenomenal. But then they go beyond country music. They make all multi-genre, and yeah, I could speak for hours about yeah.
Everyone who works with them has this. So I've interviewed a number of artists now who have worked with M Squared, and some quite recently too, and everyone seems to have an amazing experience. I can only imagine they are scheduled through to infinity at the moment because everyone wants to work with them. But you did get to work with them again for your new single "Talk of the Town." So I would imagine that was an easy decision to go back to their studio.
Yeah, it was a yeah, but yeah, it's just this. They love songwriting, and that's kind of, and their attention to it. That always comes first and foremost to me, I guess, with making records, and so that's kind of what I really like, and working with them, they make sure that the song is right first, and then them make the record. So yeah, that it's just a no brainer. That's where we left off with the, yeah, when we did Pretty Doesn't Make You Good. I was like, no, that was fantastic. So
Yeah.
go with it
It
again.
was. Yeah. And I'm sure for them too, given how experienced you are, it would have been a great opportunity because it's three songwriters essentially three songwriters who have a lot of experience in similar genres working together. So maybe not the first, sorry, not maybe not the last collaboration between you. Did you in fact record more than one song when you went back to them?
I was just the one at the moment, so with them. So it was, yeah, it's just fortunate, like, because sometimes, regardless of, like, you know the experience or whatever, and you can have, sometimes things don't gel, but for whatever reason, it gelled with us, and with countless other artists that they work with. I think they're just, yeah, they are just, yeah, there's, kind of the super producer sort of scenario where they, just incredibly talented. Yeah,
Yeah.
wonderful.
Now, the song itself is about how stories get around through conversation and they can change shape as they do. And I'm wondering, as a writer, if you do tend to keep your ear open. So if you're around, like you might be in a cafe and people are chatting, are you one of those writers who tends to think, oh, that's an interesting snippet and I'm going to note it down?
That is exactly how Talk of the Town
Okay.
came about. Because when I wrote the song, it was, it happened so quick, and just the usual daily songwriting session. I just have the voice memo going, and the chorus came out, and then every kind of thing else sort of followed over the next couple of days. And then, but yeah, leading up to that, it was, I was in a cafe or a restaurant having a coffee or coffee holiday, and and yeah, I just couldn't help it. I just sort of just couldn't help but pay attention to other groups around me that were, catching up and talking and gossiping and all that, and yeah, so just it made me just sort of think of the scenario of, like, about words and how the things that we do and the things that we say, kind of like its own form of currency, if that makes sense. And so then, we'll go on past, if you hear, it's like the Chinese whisper thing. Oh, did you hear what this person said? And then gets passed on, and then it gets changed, and then it's just kind of this whole, yeah, it just ends up being something else. So I guess that, and a Clint Eastwood movie that I watched that week kind of inspired, I think, the Talk of the Town thing.
Which Clint Eastwood movie?
I think it was Unforgiven. It was kind of more the imagery and things like that, for whatever reason. It's just,
Mhm.
so it was, yeah, that was, yeah, not necessarily the kind of the story, but certain imagery in the movie I don't know, I just like it. I just love Clint Eastwood movies, and they're amazing.
A lot of people do. He is a popular director and a popular actor as well. So, from what I can tell, this is the first time you've been a solo artist, and that's a decision in and of itself to think, okay, I've been in bands, I'm now going to strike out on my own. So, was that a natural evolution for you, do you think, or was it something that maybe you thought, okay, it's time I do this?
Uh, there was elements of it being, like, sort of coming to fruition. Like, I think it's time to do it, but it was only till it was about a year ago where I started contemplating it, because I wrote so much music, post Darlinghurst, and when I'm listening back to my songs and my demos, and obviously I've got to sing them down, or and
Mm.
just to get an idea, and there was a handful of songs where I'm just like, oh, that kind of sounds kind of cool, like, as it is, or just get a bit of, like, oh, that, and then that sort of kind of makes you think a little bit, and so you put that song aside just in case, and then you know then you start, you ponder on it and ponder on it, and then, yeah, it was about a year ago where there's a handful of songs there. I'm just thinking, well, they can either just sit there, or why, just why don't you just put it out there and just see what happens, So, and it's just trying to, yeah, it's kind of just saying, do it now, otherwise, maybe down the track you might think, oh, maybe I should have done that or something like that. So it's just trying to follow the gut instinct. I don't know where it's going to end up, but got to try these things, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you are constantly creative and constantly productive, and this also leads me to going back to the point about you producing, because your name has popped up as a producer for other Australian country music artists. So, are you particularly interested in staying in that genre? Or are you producing artists in other genres as well?
I think it's just any like I kind of don't really think in genres too much. I guess there's country artists and things like that because of being in that sort of with Darlinghurst and all that. That's a naturally sort of thing that happens. But yeah, still making pop music and yeah, country music and rock music. So it's kind of just it's kind of just following the ideas, and then also any artist that can't that wants to collaborate or for them to ask me to produce their record. It's kind of just yeah, just to kind of just see how things go really.
Hmm. So, 13-year-old Jason, when he embarked on this band that ended up lasting quite a few years and led to all sorts of other things, was he dreaming about being a full-time musician, or was he thinking about maybe pursuing a different career, and this is just how things ended up?
I did have a year where I was thinking about being a football player. Uh, I think there was like 2 days where I wanted to be a professional wrestler, but that lasted not long. But yeah, pretty much the music thing is I didn't like. I guess it's like things that it never is exactly how you expect it to be. But because I was thinking of being a musician or being in a band sort of scenario or something like that. But yeah, I guess the songwriting things sort of become sort of the kind of my main sort of focus and passion really in life. So yes, but it's also turned out different, but in a way that I think's just naturally evolved, and here we are, I guess. Yeah.
Do you have a sense of how many songs you've written?
Oh, it's been heaps. Yeah,
Like
heaps.
hundreds, if not thousands.
Oh yeah, it's yeah. I don't, to be honest, I don't like a lot of ideas like a lot of ideas are written and then a lot of half songs, but yeah, yeah, only a handful of those get properly finished, I guess. So yeah, probably thousands of half finished songs or just sort of sitting there or may not see the light of day. I don't know, but yeah.
And I think it's a great point for anyone who may be listening, who wants to be a songwriter and is thinking about it. We can get fixated on this idea of like what the perfect song might be or what the perfect creative output might be. And I think any really accomplished artist, as you are, does have half finished songs. There are a whole lot of things that have to happen on the way to a song that really works. You do have to get some stuff out of the way, sort of out of your head almost, to clear the path for those songs that work.
Yeah, I think so. I think the half finished songs thing. It's probably not because it's not not finishing them, and it's just some I try and just in my own perspective, I kind of just try and focus on things that I think are kind of that I'm really over time. You still because about 90% of the stuff I'll write won't be used, and
Hmm.
so it's kind of just a one of those doll scenarios where they just want to come
Yeah, yeah.
smaller and smaller. So yes, it's but yeah, that's just I think it's just the nature of or just in my perspective with songwriting and all that. And there's just a lot of work goes into it to get those great results, and just trying to find those really ideas that really I guess inspire and really move you to work on. But that's just part of the deal, and I'm more than happy to try kind of whatever is necessary to find those ideas. Yeah.
I think that's the key to it. You're willing to try whatever's necessary. It's just, you'll keep going until you have the song that works. You are an expert at writing earworms, because Talk of the Town's been stuck in my head for several days now. And a lot of Darlinghurst songs were also very earwormy. So I do think that's a particular skill as well.
Oh, thank you.
So
Yeah.
so thanks for my latest earworm, Jason.
Very well.
I'm sure whatever song you release next, it will also be an earworm. I am going to leave it there, but it was so interesting to talk to you. And thank you very much for sharing insights about your songwriting life in particular.
Oh, appreciate it. And thank you. Thanks for having me on your show. And now, very wonderful to talk to you too. Thanks.